Hello, friends. It's me, Cynthia, and Marty, and Azalea. Azalea's off screen, ironing some pattern pieces. So today I wanted to show some gem lepidolite that I found in my stash. Now, if you've never seen that before, you've probably seen it before. I've had it in a different few sizes, mostly small sizes. So I have a few pieces to share. I was making earrings while I was getting ready to do my live. Pretty fun that's happening here. You know, getting lighting correctly is often a challenge. Let's see. Just a quick check if anyone out there would like to let us know if our sound and image, we need to adjust anything. Sometimes you can adjust. Well, sometimes you can just check it. I'll adjust. Yes. All right. Let's see what we're going to do here. Oh, so I made, what did I do with them? There's so much stuff over here. It's hard to see what I have. Oh, right in front of me. If there was a snake, it bit me. I was just watching Azalea. She was sewing. She's getting ready to fit this thing. She's fitting it. Made this the other night. This is a more of a blue palette. You know, I was in that rainbow section. This is more of a green and blue palette. It's trying to focus on you.
I'm just looking at this handsome cat.
Oh, thank you, my friends. Carolyn says, looks and sounds great. Hello, Bonnie. Bonnie says, kitty, kitty, kitty. Hi, all. Thank you. June says, hi, Cynthia. Sound is good. Yes, my friend. Oh, and it is Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, my friends. Today, I got strawberry waffles. You know, there was this package I bought, like a little pouch. I bought it at, I don't remember, farmer's market, I think. And it was a strawberry white chocolate waffle mix. And then Greg made it today. And it was good. So if you see it, go get it because it's good. Delicious. Delicious. Hello, hello. See a lot of my friends joining in here. Hello, Cecilia. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Nilda. Who else? They're coming in. So we stream to 3 different locations, 4 or 5 different locations. So they're coming in. Oh, my friends, happy Mother's Day. And then Greg made a slaw and crab cake and a big, thick, big old crab cake. It was good.
Yeah, I mixed in my salad.
It was so good. It was a good cook. All right, so this is what I made. I've been on this, I don't know about y'all, but this is, where's that camera?
You can flip it and show it in better focus.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to do this slowly.
The slow reveal.
Slow reveal.
I didn't put the thing. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, hello. Vicky. Hello, Vicky. A really good one, too. I made this one. And you can see I didn't put the clasp on them. Well, it's my least favorite part. And it's the part that I don't know, I want to say struggle with, but I made a loop on one too big and I hated that. Oh, Eva, my friend Eva. Love that feast for you. I did have a feast. We visited Eva and Brandon and Cora. And then in Tennessee, Seymour, Tennessee, and Henry. Look how pretty this was. That was last week. It was a good time. Had a rainy feasting day. This is a, I would say, kind of not monochromatic because I'm going more of a muted pink and green, but I think I'm going to flip this so y'all can see them so I'm not like trying to balance this in front. Katrina, hello. Hello, Pat. Hello, my friends. Hello, Deborah. Hello, hello. Okay, so last week I promised to show you I had this pack of sapphires put on a strand, and I had a couple questions on how to get them where it's 1 stitch between. I was going to show that today. Here it is. So I have these. I put these in coin pouches. I told you about that. Well, I think Wednesday we talked about these coin pouches being good to put your finished jewelry in, or not even finished. I actually put these in this little box that I can flip through, kind of like a card catalog almost. And what I do is I wrap everything around. So this one I had made earlier in the, who knows when, I don't remember when, but these are sapphires I put on there, a mix, and I just wrapped it. And I'll show you what you get when you do several different stitches. This will be a crochet project. So we have a few things to cover, and I will get that going. So let me flip this camera around.
So
No, nothing's wrong. There's so much stuff over here. Like I always try to, I did not check it this time. So everything's kind of, it's all up in here. Sorry. Oh, I forgot. This is a piece I'm working on. Vera, hello. Hello all that have joined in the last few minutes. So this is a little wax master that I'm working on. And this is what will be the thing that we mold to get a silver, bronze, or pewter. And I started this on a live, I think a couple weeks ago. So it's pretty, I've worked a few minutes on it here and there, but it'll be where you can hook here, you can put a bead here. See how there's an opening? I might do it where you can put another one here. So it could be like this. So you can add 3 of them like this. So whenever I'm making piece, I look at it how I would want to use it. And I love putting dangles, although this would be really easy to just connect big beads here and here and not have to worry about doing that. So I made the holes look less like, I don't want them to look like, oh, here's a hole, just in case you don't want to use it. You know what I mean? So if you don't want to, oh, so that means I need one right here. Make a note of it. Change. If I wanted to do it. Of course, it could be here. You know what I mean? But it looks good like that too. So whenever I make a piece, I like to think of how I'm going to string it and how, like, where is this going to sit? I'm imagining this right under the collarbone, so your collarbones are sitting right up here. So that would hit right there. You could put bigger beads like this size. I would say this is a good size. Maybe more larger ones. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, I'm happy with how that's coming. It's going to give it a little bit of a lacy look. I don't know if there's, I'm digging out the back, and the reason you do this is so that it doesn't weigh a lot. Sometimes it can be heavy and kind of put a strain, You don't want it too thin so that it's like easy to bend and break. But if you have it where it has a good thickness, this one's probably like 2 millimeters and kind of feel, although this, if you look at it, you can see that the head is sticking out pretty far. And I wanted to give it that little bit of a sculptural look. And this one was kind of inspired by that dragon from the Serendipity books. Did anybody have those? Is that just me? You guys remember those? I can't think the guy's name, but he did Leo the Lot, and there's another one called Maurice. There was a bunch of them. There were like 20 books. Maybe it was from the 80s, early 80s, late 70s. Anyway, they all had huge eyes, and that was the inspiration. Oh, hello, Connie. Oh, hello, Wendy. Wendy is back from the baby factory. Best place to be on Mother's Day. That's sweet. I bet it was delightful. So this is the original charm where it's called the Here There Be Monsters. If you've ever seen an old antique map in the corners, did you ever notice how there are little monster drawings? Sea monsters. So this one's like the baby, and here's more fully grown. And what I'm putting back here is like seaweed. I'm just building it up. So a lot of the wax work is done in sections and in kind of like the way you would do wood carving, although it's way more forgiving. Oh, Michelle. Hello, Michelle. I remember me and Michelle were set up at the best bead show, not best bead show, whole bead show. It took me a minute. We were at the Viscount. I don't know if you guys remember that back in the day. So I have a couple of lots. You guys seem to like those mini lots that I did of the sapphires on Wednesday. So I found some things that I've been hanging on to because I wasn't quite sure what to do with them. And also I don't want to say the word hoarding because that implies like has negative connotations. When I think of myself doing it, I think of it more like adding to my vast curated collection of delightful things. So, and sometimes people give you a hard time. How many beads do you need? I for real hate that kind of talk. It's like, hey, if you're going to paint, here's your 4 colors. I mean, we don't have to limit ourselves like we're mono printing or something. It just sounds kind of. Anyway, I've been making charm necklaces. Sometimes I make them where they're like this. They're all down at the bottom. And that is to give you the neck mess feel. That's one way that I do it. This is my most popular way. Another way that I make these necklaces where you can't change them out. I love this long paperclip chain. And so I make this, I get rolls of this chain, right? And different rolls. Like this is one. I bought this chain not too long ago. And if you don't know, I do art fairs and markets and art markets and things. And so you can have, if you have a wide variety of styles on your table, you'll make more money. So it's good to have a variety of price points and a variety of textures and styles. So sometimes I have different chain, and this is a mix of chain. So this is 2 different kind of chain. I bought it on the roll, and I clip it and wire wrap it together or use jump rings to wire wrap it together. And for this has a little bit of a feel like fringe. I didn't put it completely together yet. So you can see that's where I would put it. But this is a super small pole. It's really kind of a nuisance to find chain that fit that. So that's what I'm waiting on with this. This is brash chain. It's an old variety that I happen to be sitting on. Sometimes, you get chain, you just sit on it for many years, and then someday you end up using it. Listen, I've had this in my collection for like 1,000 years. I've used it very sparingly. Look at that. That's how old it is. When it was $275. So last time you saw chain, that's how old this is. This is BA before Zelly was born. Yeah, because one is silver, going to be that cheap. So Vicky says I have a huge problem pricing my work. Vicky, that is probably the number one thing people talk about when we're sitting around together. Like, how do we price this? In a perfect world, you'd get paid for your time and your materials. So at the base level, you can do that. You pick a amount of money you want to get paid per hour. And think about, write down how long it takes you, and then how much your beads are, and that'll give you the price. Although sometimes your price will scare you. You'll look at you like, what? I don't know if I can get that. Then, some people get it. I mean, I was getting my hair cut, and the gal that was cutting my hair gets like $125 an hour. And I was like, listen, I have been in school for probably, I've got a degree in arts, and I've been working for a long time in my field. And sometimes it feels hard to say, hey, I want this much or I want that much for it. But other people, they get paid for their time. Lawyers get paid a lot. They went to school. We went to school. Out, and then people are like, yeah, but you do yours for fun. I'm like, yeah, but is it as much fun after you've done a long time? Yeah, it's still fun. This is still fun. But it is hard to price. But things like that doesn't take you a long time are easier to manage, I think. So anyway, let's move on to what I have today. So I have these gemlepidolite balls, beads. Where's that thing? I'm going to show it. And Vicky says also depends on geography. Oh, Wendy says that chain would make good earrings. Yeah, it would make good earrings, but I made them and they were they didn't have you need something that has like a bow to show that fringe. All right. What was I going to show? Let's do this first. We'll do one thing at a time. So let me get this a little bit tucked in a little bit closer. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is nylon. Yeah, Vicky, you're right. Depends on where you are. Whenever I like selling my jewelry on the West Coast better than I like selling it on the East Coast. I'm not sure why, and it depends on where on the East Coast. Bigger city, you get more money, I feel like. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be the case. Yeah, I already started this. This is these are little teeny sapphires. They have a pretty good sized hole on them, but not massive. So I only could fit, I didn't have the option of knotting these because the hole was too small to do a double strand and get that to work. All right, let me grab my hook. And I have a couple. Here's a hook here. This is one. So I got an antique store. Oh yeah. Well, oh, I see. That big chain, that silver chain. Yeah, that stuff would be great earrings. I haven't used it though. So this is one that's like an antique. See look how cool this is. They made it so that you wouldn't mess up the hook. Tuck that back in. So this is a 1 millimeter hook. You can use a little bit larger, but not too big because it gets to be unwieldy. Even though I've said in the past, this size doesn't necessarily matter because we will not be going into the holes. It matters, this barrel size here matters more when you're making something like this. So this is crocheted chain, or wire, I mean. And there's beads on there. I don't know if you can see them. They're pretty small. What kind of beads are those? Let me put my optovisors because I can't really tell. They're really small beads, whatever they are. Can't tell from this angle. So if you're going to go in and have to go into a stitch, then you need the right size because this is probably like this because the loops are the size of this. When they're measuring it, this is the part that they're measuring. Oh, hello, Carrie Rossi. Hello, my friend. Happy Mother's Day. What size of wire, says Vicky? This feels like 28 gauge. 28. I would say it's 28 or 30. And you can keep going with this. I was making flowers. And I don't know if you guys know how to crochet. Probably. I mean, crochet is pretty easy. I started one in... This is 26 gauge here. Right here. See that? And I use this. And this is the 26. This is another color of it too. And sometimes you can feel, oh, this is the 26. What was I holding this? I did a little sample. I think this is actually, yeah, that feels the same. Although this one's not as bendy. I started it here. So this is, I feel like that's a little clunky looking. And this is the 26 gauge. You see the difference. The 28 gauge gives you a more lacy quality. And you know what? You could use this same idea with cotton and just put some, what's that stuff called? Mod Podge, Elmer's glue, any kind of fabric stiffener that you can water down and spray it. Like they have this stuff called, Azealia, what's that stuff that we have in the closet that's for stiffening, fabric stiffener? Can't think the name of it.
It's like,
People use it to make ghosts.
it's a draping liquid.
Yeah, it's like draping liquid. That will work. I've done that with balloons and doilies that I got at the thrift store, and that works good. Carolyn, what are you talking about? You could lend out some of your necklaces to the up-and-coming young actors for the award shows and music shows. There could be some country singers in your area. We know a good amount of country and folk singers in our area. Okay, so this is bead crochet. Nilda, Cynthia, I've never seen this. I've shown this. I've shown this a few times, but I usually show it with something a little thicker. Like last time I showed it. This is the last sample I did, and I was using a very thick cord to really demonstrate it. All right, I'm going to time myself so I don't go too long on this. 10 minutes, because I got other things to show y'all. That's a good idea. We know a lot of people in this area. I'm going to put my glasses on. What am I doing? Put your glasses on if you need them, or in this case, optovisors. All right. I'll brace myself so I can see what I'm doing. All right. Okay, so here's my secret, not secret. This is the way I do I hold my cord. I use my pinky as my tension. Lift my hand over so I have this kind of action. See? All right. That gives me the tension I need. Now your tension is going to dictate how big your loops and things. If you have like really loosey-goosey tension, like this is loosey-goosey tension. Looks like this. It gives you a little bit wide holes. So what you want to do, this is the loop that I've made with a single crochet chain. Now I already started this, so I'll show on one that I did not. Here's another piece to show it. Well, let me find a fresh one. Actually, I'll just cut this off and start it. We'll do that. How's that? And I'll get to the beading part. All right, so to start, you make what's that called? Square knot? This is a square knot. Right? Standard square knot. Or a lark's head knot. I don't know what that name is. This looks like a loop.
What do you start?
To show a chain.
Slip knot.
Slip knot. There's the word I was looking for. Okay, so there's one. You grab it. And I usually leave a long tail for mine for adding on extra beads at the end. So one, and you pull it tight. It's different than a regular crochet. So you have a loop on. You're holding this with this finger, so it's giving you some tension. Grab the thread with your hook. Pull through. Tighten. Tighten. And then tighten. See that? Tighten it up. Now, if you didn't tighten it, you get a lacier look. See, watch this. So you don't have to tighten it hard. See that? You get kind of, see how that looks? Now you leave it like this. Sorry, I'm sounding weird because I'm looking at this through. I'm looking at the screen and I got my neck cocked back here. So you see there's two different kind of looks to this. Both are fine and they work great. Now, if you want to add beads, you add them before you begin this process or you're not doing this. So you add them the way I have here, right? On this. So we'll switch now back to this game on this fine. This is the micro cord. We've had this in several of our kits. It's not an easier one to find because a lot of people don't stock this because some people don't know what to do with this. A lot of times you use it it's a little bit thicker than, say, Fireline. It's a lot thicker than Fireline. You see how thick it is. All right, so here we go. I've added beads to this. So they're on the strand, right? And as I'm using this, I pull this back. Now, as many stitches as you have here is the kind of the length of space between each bead. So I'm going to add a bead and you slide one down. These are little sapphires. You can see that from that hard sparkle. And I pull it tight. You don't have to do that, but I do. Now, if you're going to go over and make a roughly type of neck piece, then you do not tighten it because you won't be able to get your needle back in or your hook back in here. And that's the reason they say when you're learning to crochet or any kind of like knitting type thing, if you pull too tight, then you won't be able to get your needle back in. See, because you wouldn't be able to get into any of those because I'm pulling it. Okay, so if you do one stitch and then go immediately to another, you get this kind of, you'd see it kind of gives you this, I didn't tighten between those. Let's tighten a little bit better. Tighten the next one, bring it in, and you get almost a laddering effect. See what I mean? And if you want it to be a full, like one on each side, you have to kind of drape it with, or not draping is the wrong word, kind of like weighing it a little bit when it's wet to get it to stay. It's like a wet drape. All right, so that's how you get like that kind of cluster where they're set close together. Now, to add space, which is what I like to do, number one, it kind of showcases the colors and it doesn't become one homogenized, like just like a roll, almost like a tennis bracelet or pave set. When the closer they are together, it's denser, but I feel like that's pretty good. It looks nice and it's just part of your, your bag of tricks. If you add a little bit more space and a bigger bead, you can it's like you're showcasing it. All right, put one on there. And you don't have to pull hard when I'm pulling that. It's not with all my strength. It's a slight tug. I usually like to put about, depending on the beads, and it just really depends on what beads I'm using. And I don't often count in between. That's another thing. I like this look of it to be kind of like a natural product. Like it's almost like a root with thick and thin spots, or like a vine, So that's the, I like it when I have like little areas where they're kind of clustered up, almost like like there's a little bit of a traffic jam right here. Or if you were looking at musical notes or, something where there's like, or a heartbeat, where your heartbeat sped up and it's faster and then it's slowed down. So I think it looks pretty. And on a lot of my necklaces, here's one that's finished. I've shown this one before because it needs to be repaired. I'm promising my friend I'm going to get to it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. And you can see, like, sometimes I'll count it in between, but in this case, I did not. I just kind of looked at the beads and let them sort of talk to me and say, hey, these need more space. Those don't need very much space, Like, I kind of felt like these small discs of opal I usually put a lot more space in between for things that I'm particularly enamored with. You can see that, like, oh, I'm going to take my time and look at these sapphires. And it gives it a little bit of a texture, like see how these are closer together and these are farther apart. There's no rule as like, oh, if it's this size, you need to put it that, with that many stitches. But, just for texture, like however you want to make it look. To me, I think having the thick and thin, sparkly and smooth gives you a really pretty kind of ethereal necklace. And you can see that's what here the color of this is like, it doesn't read. I feel like this is kind of like violet. And I feel like in this, you have a little more, the thread is more subtle. It has a slight glow to it when you're wearing it. So this is, Sandy says, what is the thread type and size? Wendy, this is how you do the back and forth. You just have to, that requires you to do a little bit of finagling with the, like, it works better if the beads are exactly the same size, Wendy. And you have to kind of, oh, that's the 10-minute mark on that. So I can move to the next thing. I'm trying to be more mindful with my making, so I'm not like running on too long. All right, so Michelle says, I really need to sit down and make a crochet necklace. Well, put this on when you're doing it yourself and follow along with my fingers and you'll get it. It might feel odd the first times you're making it. Whenever I've taught this, it can be like, if you don't crochet, like I tried to teach a couple of my friends that did not crochet and they had a lot of trouble with it, but it's like anything, your muscle memory will, the more you do it, then it'll be easier. I mean, I guess that's true of just about anything that you're going to do, but particularly with things like this, your fingers and hands just, you just have to get that, build up the strength in your hands. It's almost like they're on autopilot after a while. Yeah, usually when I do that back and forth, it does it itself, Wendy. I'm not sure why it's not doing it this time, because usually it's just like one half. You're not even doing a full, you don't do another stitch in between, and it makes that laddering effect. But this time it's not doing it for whatever reason.
Because you're showing it.
Yeah, because I'm showing it. It should do it, but here you go.
It's like
Why is it like that?
notorious. Anytime you try to show
Why is
something,
it when it-
instantly you lose the ability.
Yeah, it's like, why isn't it doing it? Because I'm showing it. Wendy says, I have everything to do it. You have some fray check, you got some cord. Now I've tried different glue, and fray check's the best. I will say that, and that's just my feeling on that. Azalea and I were daydreaming about our one day we would like to have a brick and mortar store. Gallery space, I guess, would be a good, but with investment plaster and some basic jewelry or casting equipment if supplies. So if you needed some investment, you didn't have to order it, because the ordering of investment plaster costs more than the actual plaster. Or the shipping costs more. Like it costs like $50 for a box of investment plaster, but it costs like 60 to ship it because we get it from Rio Grande in New Mexico. A couple more stitches on this. Yeah, go get your freight checks. For some reason, I had a hard time getting it. I don't know. So this, you can see I did almost like there's a little bit of a pattern happening. Okay, so that was that demo on that. Hope you guys found that useful. I'm going to put this back in the bag. And usually what I do with my projects is I do one of these. So if I have one handy, I get a safety pin and put the safety pin here. And then I'll drop it into one of those pockets like this. Get everything in there. And then when I'm ready to work with it, I have everything ready to go. And if you happen to see one of these on eBay or something, or at an estate sale, pick it up, because then you could throw the whole thing in there and that's your kit. You could just take that with you. If you're traveling, this makes an excellent, look at this. Put that in there. And then if you string up like a million of these, then you could just cut it off and then start the next one. It's good times. Perfect for the plane. So if you do need optivisors. All right, the next thing. Let's go to the next thing. Okay, so I'm going to show what I have. All right. Are these these are on a lot, right? You're doing lots on these, Azealia? So, oh, yeah. So these are gem grade lepidolite. I could only find these in bracelet sizes. So I had to buy bracelets and cut them up to get these beads. So, and these weren't a cheap date at all. But I love them and cannot stand it how much I love them. So we'll put these here and I'm going to show how to use these. If you want any of these, you can, oh, yeah, Wendy's got, Wendy, what you talking about? You found a place to go and learn some stone lapidary work, 30 minutes south. Oh, that's good news. That is wonderful news. Yeah, you should totally take those classes. If you have the opportunity to take classes in your area, you should do it because, people fly in and I know that people say, oh, you can take a live, but sometimes it's nice to take a real life class. Okay, so these are them. This is called gem grade. You can't really buy it separate. I looked all over Tucson, and what I ended up getting was, let me see, I had it in a kit, and I'll show you the quality of how it's good, but it's not this. This is a different different type of quality. I don't have it snare. But why people like it? Here's why people like it. All right, I had this in a kit, but it's a little bit smaller. So this is the same material. So here's why people love this, is because it looks like this. This is Star Ruby. Now this bead is going to probably set you back. This is like one of the big ones on the strand. This one alone would be like $30, right? Because these are weighed. And like one strand of these we were looking in Tucson was like, it was so much money. I don't know. I bought these a long time ago and the strand was only like that long and they were really, really expensive. This gives you the same kind of look. I mean, they're probably as soft as an opal. So when you mess with these, you want to keep them in something that they're not going to get damaged because you don't just clack those down on a table. So those are these. I'm gonna get them all out first. Oh, and I put them in this box. I had this. My friend got this for me when they went to Japan years and years ago. Oh, and here we go. Look at this. Green. Hey, beautiful. So lepidolite is relatively soft. I was saying it's like soft as.
Is it selenite?
It's kind of like selenite in that same, like mica and feldspar in that same kind of.
It's like layer.
It's layered. I'm looking around. I have one that I cracked it with a hammer. I wanted to show where'd I put it. Oh, sometimes I put too much stuff out and then you can't. Oh, here it is. It's sitting right there. So here's another piece. So it has that. Here's why it's layered. See, so I wanted to see if this was legit because I didn't want to sell it if it was dyed. I mean, I would have just kept it, but sometimes you want to mark it if it is. So when I cracked it in half, it split at the weakest point, which is the hole point where they drill, right? So this I thought would just make earrings. So I don't have that many because this was a bracelet that was cut up. I just cut the clasp right off of it and I'm selling them just like this. And I have, how many do I have? I have 8. There's 16 on a thing. So this is what it looks like on the middle. And it's kind of like if you've ever looked at mica, it's that same way, or like selenite. So these are natural. You can see that's the color. And it's like the color when it goes through, like I cracked it and it just like slid apart like a layer cake, but I had to really smash the heck out of it. The other was like powder, but this side would kind of help it, not powder, but like layers of little discs. And so this is the teal. When you hold these up to the light, I don't know if you can see this, but what I liked about it is they have in like the color is kind of flattening it out on the screen of my screen that I'm looking at, but they have a sheer teal. Like when you're holding them up to the light, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if that's going to give you the indicator of how luminous these are, but you know what? I'm going to make a pair of earrings for myself, and I'm just going to make them super simple. So that is, let's see. So these are $5.38 for the purple. You can see the difference. And when you hold them up to the light, they have that. That's what they're like in the side view. See that glow? They're not like anything else. They're not like glass. They'd never be mistaken for glass. People would be all day long. What is that stone? Oh, hello, Shri. Yeah, so this is $5.38 if you want the pink. Yeah, look at that color flash, that color play. It's kind of like how labradorite, they call that the schiller or the chatoyance. And these have that. So they have that kind of, this would, I would say, if you wanted star rubies, this is a good dupe for the star rubies. So this is $5.38 and they're $16. It's pretty good. I mean, seeing as you can't get them unless you buy a finished bracelet, then you have to cut it up yourself. So that is $5.37. This is the interior of that. It's a beautiful green. The other one that I did, I smacked it and it looked just like this, even though it was pink. It's almost the same color. It's weird. Oh, what do we have in here? Let's see what else is in this box. Oh, hello, Sheree. Hello, hello. So I got these a while ago. I'm going to make earrings out of this. So I'm going to put these would look fantastic. Let's take a closer look. I got these because I thought my mom would want them because she loves anything floral. And these have, and I hadn't seen this in a long time since the 80s when these used to be super popular. You guys probably remember this in like 1982. But usually the backgrounds were like a cobalt blue, right? Or like a gold color. But when I found these in black, I was so happy. So these I got to match with this. This is I was gonna make earrings out of them. So these aren't really super expensive. I only got the one strand of black. And I asked about it. And he said, how come there isn't much black? And they said the black has a lot higher fail rate. So there isn't as much of it because it goes matte at the edges and will like they won't it like won't it doesn't let me see how to I've done enameling myself. And what is the word? It orange peels, right? So there's an orange peel stage when you have the frit on the metal, and it was pebbly on some of them. So they scrapped those. These came out perfect. They're really smooth, really nice. Only $6. You get 2 pairs of earrings out of this. That's a good time right there. Let's see what else I have in my treasure box. So I found these and I thought, man, I'm going to share because I've been hanging on for a long time. So this is perfectly matched gooseberry eggs. I don't have very many of these. I've been sitting on the same strand. I got a mega strand of this in like 98 or something, and I've been using the same one. So I use these on my treasure necklaces. I love these. And I'll tell you the reason. These are pink. You don't see pink gooseberries very often. And they are just so special and they're perfect. That's the other thing. So they're not chipped. These are antique. They're very old. They were made in the 1880s. That's when these were made. I got these from Picard Museum, Bead Museum. They had a store. I don't know if they still have the store, but it's somewhere out west. I don't remember where. And so that's $5.39. This is actually this price for this. They actually retail for about $5, and they're not a bead. On if you go on eBay, Etsy, that's about, and you get some that are like not perfect. These are perfect. I went and hand picked that, so it's about $6 a piece. It's about $1 more for perfect ones, and I matched them as close as I could get it. Remember, they're antique, so there's going to be a little bit of wear, tiny bit, but I have some in like a amazing blue, and I'll share those as well. But I only have 4 of this. The rest I have, um, they're in my collection. I thought I was being nice to sell 4 of those. All right, and then the last thing that we made before I get to making with these guys is we restocked the shop with a handful, maybe 3 or 4 of these silver. The mountains are calling. The mountains are calling. The mountains are calling. This is sterling. Look how pretty that looks. It's weighty. I made this as my love letter to Asheville. I was carving this during Helene under our party barn tent. We had it parked out in the driveway. And when people would roll in looking for supplies, when we finally had internet, we'd say, hey, if you need something, we're stocking water. Greg and Jeremy drove to Shelby. It's about an hour or so away and stocked up. And we were like a little hub during the first part of the hurricane. And while we were doing that, I was out there carving while I was chatting with my friends. So this has taken me a while to finish. It's like, I mean, that Helene was like 6 months ago. So sometimes it takes a minute. You can get the bare bones of a thing to be, it's just detailing and getting, what was I going to put on the back? What am I going to do with this? So it took a minute to finally get it complete. And these are really beautiful. Really, they came out good. I'm really proud of the way that came out. So it has you see there's a little owl right there, little mushrooms, and then there's like a little landscape. Okay, so now I'm going to see what I was making with these guys. All right. Ear wires. You don't need that many. Sometimes I just, I end up losing them because I'll bring out a pack. All right, so this is what I bought these for. And I've made a couple of sets with these. Now on this one, I did mixed material. Because sometimes people are like, I only wear gold. I only like to wear gold. I only wear silver. Oh, thank you, Karen. Connie says, do you have them in pewter? Yes, we have them in our website. On the website, where to go? Let's see. Here. Thank you. I was distracted. Too many things. Terry says, I'm a little late. Well, welcome, Terry. I'm glad you're joining us. Thank you, my friends, for joining us on our live. It means the world to us. It keeps us in cat food for Marty. Keeps us in yarn and fabric for this girl. Hey. And it puts food on the table. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you with all my full heart. Okay, so I'll put this if you're watching it. You looking later? Greengirlstudios, send me an email and I'll let you know what I have left. I don't have deep stock on anything. This is just what I have available right now. I can always look and get more. Maybe. I don't want to promise anything, but sometimes you can find things later, sometimes not. I only found these last year at Tucson, but I only found them as bracelets. So this I don't think I can get more necessarily, but you never know. You might get lucky. Who knows? Oh, thank you, Wendy. Wendy says, hi, Connie. I got mine in pewter and it's amazing. Oh, Azalea's still working on that dress. I'll aim the camera over there in a minute. I don't. When you're ready, then, little daughter. So when someone does one. Well, you know how I mean. All right. So I have on this, let's see. Connie says, will you be at the Uncommon Market this weekend? No. I don't know. Zoe says no way, but you never know. Maybe. I don't like to say never, but we'll see. I did not sign up for it, but I don't think I have anything for that on the middle of the day, and I'm always looking for a place to set up.
That's on a Sunday, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's on a Sunday. I will check. They have a little bit, I will say it's a little bit of not a cheap date. Their price of a booth rental or booth space is kind of high, so it's not my very first. All right, so that's one earring. I just did that one before we started. So that's with this. I'm gonna do another one. So that's like girl with a pearl earring style. Put them on. I don't know if I love this head pin with the bronze head pin. It's okay. It's a little big. So let's do another one and see what it looks like. Let's do this pink one. Get these guys out. Too much visual noise. That's like the story of my life is visual noise. I'm not trying to, but it just kind of that's the way it goes sometimes. Mary says, hello and happy Mother's Day. Are those two stripe beads or those quartz? They're not. These are what's called gooseberry antique African glass beads. So those were probably not made in Africa. They say that because they were traded to Africa. A lot of these beads are made what they would call Bohemia, or like in Czech Republic back in the day, or Dutch in Amsterdam. So, I have a book over here that shows. I got this book on antique beads. And see, I know they're in here, so I got this bead book, Beads of the World. Let's see if I can find them. I've seen them in this book. We back up the truck a minute and see about this. I got a few minutes. We'll flip through this. So this is Beads of the World, and we'll get exact facts on that. I know I've seen it up here. They make these striped beads like this. See the cane? They stripe the cane. I saw a piece of it. See that? Striped. That's cane. Now, if you just chop it, you get the stripes. If you chop it and then adhere them in like a patchwork, you get this shape. You melt them on the surface. So that's the cane. So chopped, you get different stripes. I love antique beads, glass beads. I have a pretty good collection, actually. I have these. Those were not a cheap date. Oh, and I love red hearts. I don't know. I'm just really drawn to antique beads. I know that not everybody is. Me and Candy were fawning our butts off on like, some of the beads, you just don't know what people are like. And I am crazy about moon beads. And we had some of this. Look at these. We had some of this. Candy and I split a strand, and those were some beautiful carnelian. So fun. See if I can find it. Of course, whenever you're like, oh, it'll be no problem, I'll go right to the page. And I didn't. Maybe I can go to the table of or the index and find them. Or I'll just look later. We can Google it later. Oh, I was going to show this. I forgot. We'll go back up to a little bit more of a zoom again. A little bit. There, that looks good. Oh, I don't know if I showed this. So this is what I was trying to show earlier. It was on the edge of my table. I thought I'd show it before I forgot. So this is when I finished up. This is the knotting with the 2 strands technique. And I did blue and pink and crystally gray colors. Pretty. That came out good with pearls. Get that down. All right, I'm going to make another one of these. So I'm going to try a silver on the next one, I think. And this red. Yeah, usually you can find that book at the library. I found at one point. You could do little spacers. That's cute. But if you want a minimalist look, like that girl with the pearl earring, if you're going to do like a massive big pearl, it can look really sharp. Okay, so that's just a regular silver head pin with a ball at the end. I'm going to, because you could stack these where you had it like this if you were feeling like you wanted. These have nice wide bead holes, but weirdly they have a rim on the inside. So you could do one of those. I feel like that looks really pretty, but to me, I like it when there's a tiny bit of space in between, right in here in these areas. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to attach them that way. Make a little bit of a bend. Everybody does their loops a little different. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a fantastic. I'm going to show that threader. I have some other threaders. I don't know why I didn't think to show that. Where are those threaders? Okay, I'm going to go get them. All right, this is a threader. A threader earring is this. So you enter the ear hole from this stick, and then you pull it till it gets up to this point right here, and it sits there and doesn't rock back and forth. But then you could add it. Let's do that. Let's just see. It might be too big, but it could be really cool. We don't know yet. We're gonna see what the look is. Okay, so I don't know if I'm gonna close it off yet. Oh, that's nice. It's a nice look. It's kind of modern, I think. Kind of a long drop for me. I think I would rather it with a smaller drop, kind of close to the neck or closer to the earlobe. So I'm going to so we tried that with a threader. I don't know if I feel like that's a little big for a threader. These with the threader might be a better option. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think this is a little nicer to go with that. The size, it won't feel so weird bouncing against your neck. Yeah, it's very pretty. Yeah, I was happy to get these. Very happy to find them. I think they're beautiful. They give you the look of star rubies without the price tag of the star ruby, but still a rare and beautiful stone. And it's not like you can find these at, like, if you're like, oh, I'll just get those on the internet. A lot of times they don't sell them. You can't get them by just the bead. At least that I've seen. I think I brought all the cutters downstairs. Is ladies, you have a pair of cutters over there handy?
Like wire cutter?
Wire. The only ones I have are massive.
I don't think I do.
I'm fine. I can use the big one. Ugh. Oh, here it is. It's like invisible. Okay, so these look way better with when I like to smash the top. And I aim the shiny part, I aim that to the front. Okay, so that's how that looks with the silver. I think that looks the best, in my opinion. You can choose your own adventure. Let me put this so there's no confusion. These guys, 239, these guys are 539 are in this. And this is this there. All right, so This looks great. Let's see what it looks like with a little bit more. Let's add to it. Let's see what that looks like. All right, I got some silver wire over here. A little bit thinner. Sometimes I annoy myself with how I do this. Don't be like me with your wire and annoy yourself as I'm doing, because this is irritating. I found the end of it. I'm going to cut a piece off. Cut a short piece. Okay, this is with the bronze head pin. So if you like to do mix and match, or this would be good if you wanted to do these guys and mix, because there's a little bit of, this is, I don't know if you know the way that they make these, but these are metal beads that are, there's a wire. It's so much labor. I can hardly believe these sometimes. So they take a wire and wrap it around and it's sweat soldered into place. You'd think it's cast, but it turns out these aren't cast. They're fabricated. It's pretty neat. These are old. I got these a long time ago. Um, they're done in a little bit different style than they are the modern ones. There's a little bit more depth. There's not as, and I think the reason that they're not flush for modern ones is because that would require a thicker coating. So these older ones have a more flush, rounded appearance. That they're not as like, sometimes you could see the. I have another example of them, but it's on a fish, like a fish pendant. And because they still make those, those jointed fish, and the quality is not as good as the old fashioned way. I think that it just, things are just made a little bit different. All right, I'm going to where did I put that piece of wire? Just cut a piece of wire. Just set it down. Oh, here it is. All right, so I'm going to make a loop. So this is for, I'm going to make a loop, a double loop. And I'm trying to concentrate so I don't make this the ugliest wire work you ever seen. But it's hard to do this on screen with some of my tools downstairs. I didn't bring them all up. I'm constantly shifting back and forth between upstairs, downstairs. And all my cutters are downstairs, of course. I love these because they have that beautiful rosiness. Oh, sure, he's telling about the trade deal with China. That's so stressful. I know a lot of my friends that depend on beads from China. They're sitting there going, what is going to happen? And, it's kind of stressful. We make everything nearly. I mean, these are made in China from like probably the 90s or so. I'm not sure when these were made. But you do not forget. Sometimes I close these up and then it's like, what? Why did you do that? Let me put this one on there. I'm gonna attach it because I was like, why is my throat itchy? Oh, it's because I've been going on for a while. That's why. I can feel it when I get to about when I'm ready. Oh yeah. That's the way to do it. These will be pretty. And they won't break the bank. That's the other good thing. They'll have a nice high-end look, I think. Let's see if I can get it to look out. We'll do a messy wrap on the bottom, Nina Bagley style. She makes that, what she calls, like a little mess. She calls it the messy wrap, or I call it. So I don't know what she calls it. But sometimes you know, it's hard to make a perfectly symmetrical wrap where each side's the same. Sometimes mine are a little, what you call it, a little messy in there. Always when I'm doing this. Wendy says, did you guys feel that earthquake? I thought a tree fell. That's what I thought that was. Turns out it was an earthquake. But the other day, we had a tree come down because it was hanging right over the studio. And our friend Yona, he's in a tree service. He came in and took that tree down. And I can feel, you guys don't know the relief. It's expensive to have trees taken down. So that was such a relief. Okay, so this is these two together. So you could make a pair of earrings. If you got this is $6, there's two sets. So you could even make two pairs of earrings with this. And then these are 16. So for like 20 bucks, depending on if you have the ear wires already, for like 20 bucks, you can make these nice earrings. Look at that. Check out that. And the reason I put this instead of putting this on, there was room on this head pin, but you get a little bit more, it gives you a little bit more old world, kind of like an Art Nouveau feel. It's a little bit more movement. If you put them on together just like that, it gives it kind of more of a snowman look. It's like, and that can give you a different look. And I have another pair that I've made that's in the works downstairs on my downstairs table, where I have this as the upper part, and there's a loop here, and I'm doing a tassel spray, and that's for a friend's birthday that I'm making those. So this is the project. This is gem grade lepidolite. I have it in two of these colors. Usually, I will say you can't get it these colors for the most part that I've seen. Usually it looks like this. I have some. Lepidolite does not usually, it's more of a purple. It kind of looks like kunzite. A little like this, but darker. I have a rough piece. Oh, here it is. It's like, of course, it's at the bottom of my amount of stuff over here. Oh, that's sure white.
That's some serious beat digging happening right there.
This is sure white. Let's see, some spray. Let's see a little bit better of the color. This is very opaque. Usually it's very opaque and you can't see a lot of the color, but on this you can. So it's a very beautiful, I mean, I think it's closer when you look at lepidolite, it's closer to this ruby than it is to, I have so many of these things sitting over here. That's why it's kind of rattling around. And I had another piece. I don't know what happened to it. It was sitting right over here. Oh well. Anyway, I feel like this, isn't that very close? But it's two different stones. This is ruby. This is the lepidolite. But you get that same cat eye action. The thing is this has a better color, I feel like, even though this is the more expensive stone. Yeah, oh, lucky Melanie to have the whole strand. Delicious. Delicious. I'm going to make these for me. I'm going to make the other one. And wouldn't it be good to have one of each color? They go with a lot, Perfect. All right. I am going to flip this. I feel like we talked about a little about crochet. We talked about, what else did we talk about? We talked about lepidolite. We talked about these guys, the antique. These would make, I matched these, so that would make really good earrings.
He's up.
He's up. He's ready for his snack.
Gotta switch the camera.
I know, I'm getting it ready, Zoya.
His paw is getting Oh shit.
Hey, little darling. You got it. Oh, he grabbed mine. He said he grabbed that. He was like that. He's strong. Dang. He didn't want me to do it. This is a new brand. This one came out with a lot more. So I was gonna say he's taking his time with his snack, but now I've got him trained where he comes up here when there's a live. He's like, okay, and he gets on his stool.
He cried at the door to be let in.
Yeah, he knew because I forgot to bring him up here, but he cried right at the door. He knew which day because he could hear us up here. He's like, all right, you come in here. Carol says, how big are the holes in the lepidolite? Okay, let's see. The holes are a generous. Look, this is a whatever that size is. Look at that size. Good size. I would say maybe 1.5 millimeters. It's bigger than them. It's good size. It's a very good sized hole. Oh, there's a little bit left. Let me see. Yeah, so if you wanted to put them on a treasure necklace, it'd be pretty. So when I have those big beads, another way that I like to use them is taking a strand of silver seed beads. Those charlottes. They're metal charlottes, or even just glass beads, and making a simple strand and then setting one. Like, do you remember that movie? What's that movie with Mia, Sarah, and Tim Curry? You guys remember that? Where she plays the princess and she's got that like pendant right in her, what do they call that? Azalea, what was it called? The something notch on your neck, and you said you hated that word.
I don't remember.
Plunder's notch. That's
something like that.
So it sits right there. That would be a good use for that too. Carolyn says, can I macrame with them? Yes. And then Sheree says, Cynthia and her live cat chat. Yeah, I'm not afraid. He's the love of my life. We spent when I'm apart from him, it's what's Marty doing? Is that true, Azalea?
Yes.
It is true. He's gonna finish it. Look, there's nothing in it. And he's like, let me make sure. Let me just make sure that's clean.
He must really like that brand.
He must really like it. He's like really working on it. So cute. Marty munching. So I would say you can macrame. You could get a goodly sized. You could even get that silk. The silk cord. That'd be really pretty with it. Or kumihimo. I don't know if you'd be able to get as many strands from kumihimo, but you'd at least get 2 large strands through there. Oh, Wendy says, poor Greg. And you know what? He said that. And I said, he should be your love of your life too, right? All of us.
True.
He was like, oh, I said, no, don't let Marty hear you. He's all of our loves of our lives. That's how it goes.
It's the proper way.
It's the proper way, because Oh. Sheree said, I'm giving you show names. Perfect. Show what you've made, Azalea.
What?
There. Show what you've been doing. That's what she's been doing.
Dress.
Get in there and put it on there. This is the thing we got from the estate sale.
I'm still sewing the. Okay.
Just go ahead and show it while we're standing here. You need to find someone that will dress up. Did you see it where I sent you that video of that guy walking around in his manly 1600s outfit?
There's nothing manly about the 1600s.
Well, he said how men used to dress.
Yeah.
And it was a velvet waistcoat. It looked good.
This this mannequin, even without any padding, is too small, or too big, I mean. So I can't really close it, but it's a Victorian dress, and I'm sewing this silk band on right now. I've got half of it sewn, the bottom half. Now I'm working on the top half to secure it. It's almost ready to wear. I'm very excited about it. I've been working on it for like 2 weeks, just trying to fix it because I was like working so hard to get it just to fit. If I didn't have to struggle with the terrible pattern that I got, it would.
I thought it was a good pattern.
No, no. I had to make so many alterations just to get it to look like normal, just to get it to fit right. I don't even know. I'm never gonna get, Anyway, negativity aside, I'm happy with how it looks, and I'm putting this silk band on. It's the same silk the corset's made out of. So, and then I have a bit of lace that I'm gonna stitch on right around the arm here that's pinned in place. And then as soon as this is done, I have a lace collar that I'm knitting that's gonna go around the neck, and then it'll be finished. Happy. Okay, you can point it away from me now. I want to take it back off. Keep working on it.
Good job, daughter. Good job. Smart and lovely. It's a little daughter. All right, my friends. I hope y'all had a good Mother's Day. I hope that y'all got something useful out of that little bit of a demo. We did two today, two little demos with the gem braid lepidolite and the crochet. We did a little bit of crochet today. All right, my friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll be going again on Wednesday. We have a few things. I'm going to try and get some pieces cast. I don't know if we're going to get that done. So it's a little, the timeline between now and then is a little short. So we might just do a technique on Wednesday. Okay, friends, happy Mother's Day out there, and stay creative. Do something useful. It's good for your brain. It's good for your hands. It's good for just in general, mental health, spiritual health. It's good for everything. All right. We're going to get back to crafting, my friends. All right. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.